Yeah, g'day YouTubers. Tinker O'Toole again here with a safety video. Out of all the videos that I've ever made, never ever once sort of touched on the edge of safety. And I've came close and had a few near misses in my time in the last 20 or 30 years. So I thought I'd share those with you. And there's an old saying, it'll never happen to you until it does. And that's what tends to happen with some people that are a little bit careless with a chainsaw. So let's talk about the first incident. It happened to me. It's happened to me quite a number of times, but I never got hurt, but I could have. And is that the chain came off the bar. So if we have a look at this chainsaw here, it's happened to me with this chainsaw 2-3 times. And the main reason, well, really the only reason that a chain comes off the bar is because you've been using it and you've let it got too loose. Typically, the chain would probably be sitting like that. The drive links are lower than the bottom of the bar. Now, when that happens, you've got a chain catcher underneath. Let's just see if we can zoom in and see that. They call it a chain catcher, but all it does is slow down a bit of the whipping action. So that's it there, that little metal tang. And what can happen, and does happen, is that the chain derails, if we use that terminology, like this. It all happens in a split second. This down the bottom catches the chain, and the chain can come under here. And the longer the chain, the more chance of it causing damage. So if you have a look, this is a 20-inch bar and chain, and the chain comes back to here. Now I'll show you one thing that's on every chainsaw, and you may not have even thought about it, but the handle is right in the middle, but you can see how that is offset. This aids protection for your hand. So if the chain whips in a straight line, and we'll just sort of put that in a straight line, that's where the chain would whip if it came off. So, or it could come even close. But if you've got your hand there, you should be lucky. Worst case scenario, it may come this close. Or if it's if you've got a longer bar, it's liable to come up. But normally, that's why it pays to keep your arm straight. So number one safety rule, when using a chainsaw, don't have your hand out here. Have it tucked in like that. Don't have your arm out here. Tuck it in. Remember that. Or have it slightly, the chainsaw. I like to have the chainsaw virtually right in the middle of my body, but you can have it slightly to the right side. Won't hurt if it was a couple of inches to the right. It'll give you a little bit more protection. Once you start doing that, you'll get used to that. That is that type of chain catcher. On the MS500i, it's made out of nylon rather than steel, but there are people that manufacture steel ones, chain catchers. So that's what the chain catcher does. The other thing that's really critical, and this happened to me also, a big large tree fell down, probably about 20 meters tall, fairly large crown on it, branches everywhere. So I'm stepping inside in the crown of the tree, and I'm chopping up the small branches. And when I say small branches, some of them are 6 inches. So I was using this saw, and rather than use the saw and cutting straight in front of you, so I was holding the saw and moving it to the left and moving it to the right. So And as I brought the saws, so rather than cut like that, you should be cutting that way. So if there's a branch going out the side, you need to stand in this direction and cut that way. 90 degrees. But I was cutting on a 45-degree angle. And as I brought the saw down like that, and my leg was there, it came across and just touched my jeans and cut me slightly open. Didn't need stitches, but I was very lucky. Back in those days, I didn't wear safety equipment. I wore gloves, but I didn't wear safety glasses and I didn't wear chaps. And I certainly didn't, wore a head mask or anything like that there. So I was wearing the bare minimal, safety glasses only. Not enough protection. And you've got to wear safety boots as well. That's the other thing. So we'll just have a look at a few of the options of safety. But before we do that, I'll just talk about my third incident. I wasn't hurt in either of them, but I could have been. A lot of the times you may have to cut a limb off a branch and you can't get up to that branch, so you'll use a ladder. And if you look on YouTube, you'll see lots of accidents where people use a chainsaw, climb up a ladder. They'll cut the branch can hit them, or the branch can hit the ladder and they fall off the ladder and they can injure themselves. This is very, very common. Because what people are doing, rather than pay someone, they're doing it themselves. So what I did to get around that sort of problem, I brought a pole saw. The pole saw is about 3 meters or 10 feet in length. And I can work on the ground. And it's much safer working on the ground because if you see the branch falling towards you, you can step out of its way or move out of its way, which is what you do whether you're cutting a tree down or anything. Work on the ground. Don't work up on ladders. Ladders is a disaster for an accident waiting to happen. And as I said, it's never you until it is. Okay, let's move on to some of the safety gear that's available for chainsaw users. So if we come over here, this is a steel hat. It's actually quite safe. You've got earmuffs and you've got this meshed mask here. So this is great. And there's a little bit of a splinter sticking in it like that. Look at that. A little bit of a splinter of wood. So yes, these are great, but I still prefer to use safety glasses with them as well. It is a great little addition. It gives you ear protection, it gives you head protection, it gives you face and eye protection. Used with safety glasses, you've got really great protection there. So make sure that you're wearing your work boots, your eye protection, your head protection, your face protection, your ear protection. These don't cost a lot of money, and all you're doing is making sure that you're protecting yourself. I like to use these riggers gloves. They're only thin leather. I don't like really thick gloves. You start to lose the feel. So these are riggers gloves. I like to use those. These are still safety gloves filled with polyester fibers in them. If the chainsaw touches this, it'll just pull the fibers out of here and it will jam up the saw. There's videos on it, you can use it. So I use these as well. The other thing is the steel. I brought a pair of the steel chaps. So they're the chaps there. They go around your legs. A little bit on the uncomfortable side. I don't wear them all the time. But I do wear them. What you need to be conscious of is how you hold your chainsaw. You should be holding your chainsaw with your feet spread open, about 1.5 foot or 400 mil wide, and your chainsaw directly in front of you, and cut that way. Do not deviate to the left, do not deviate to the right. Hold it straight in front of you. That is the safest way to do it. Now, the other thing that's very, very dangerous, what people do, got to be very careful doing this, is using the tip of the chainsaw bar. This is very dangerous. This can cause kickback. Many people have been injured where the chainsaw bar, they've touched the nose and it's kicked right back and it's hit them in the face, in the forehead, and cut them open. Had that been wearing their safety protection, it wouldn't have happened. And if you'd done it properly in the first place, it wouldn't happen in the first place. So avoid using the nose. Yes, I know wood carvers and plunge cuts use the nose, but you've got to be very careful doing plunge cuts, and you've got to be very careful doing carving if you're a carver. Here in Australia, there's no requirement for anyone using a chainsaw. You don't have to be certified. If you drive a forklift, you can't drive a forklift working in any commercial environment without a forklift license, so that requires training. Here you can go in and buy a chainsaw and use it, and you don't need any training. And I guess that's what happens at a revolving chain on a chainsaw can be a very dangerous weapon, and if used incorrectly can cause serious injuries. So I can't stress that any more than what I have stressed it. Just be careful. Make sure that you're standing in the correct position with your legs slightly open, the chainsaw bar directly in front of you. Do not use the chainsaw on an angle to the left. Do not use the chainsaw on an angle to the right, because when you drop the chainsaw down on that angle, it's coming near your feet, and if you do it that way, it's coming near your feet. But if you do it in front, then it's coming in the middle of your feet. So yes, always hold the chainsaw bar 90 degrees to your body, and that's much safer. Another safety tip is avoid holding the chainsaw above your head. This is another very dangerous procedure, using a chainsaw in an elevated position. Very, very dangerous, holding the chainsaw up in the air and cutting like that. You're much better off using the chainsaw at waist position, lowering it down onto the timber, not above your head. This is very, very dangerous. Also, if you are using it above your head, like an example would be if you were to cut a tree like this and you've got the chainsaw up here, you risk also the branch falling on top of you. So yes, it's very, very dangerous using a chainsaw in that elevated position. Look, that pretty much covers it all. The only other thing that I'd like to say, that when you are cutting on the ground, that's much, much safer than what happened to me when the large tree fell on the ground and there's branches going out everywhere. I'm standing in the middle of the tree and I'm cutting it all up. That's unavoidable, but the best way to do that is work from the outside to the inside, not from the inside to the outside. So try and work from the outside and start cutting the smaller branches off and work your way in till you get to the bigger side branches and work on that. And as I said, don't start moving your chainsaw. So if you're standing facing that position, don't get your chainsaw left or right. This is where little accidents can happen. Anyway, look, I hope that helps. That's just my insight to a bit of safety. Yeah, always think about the job that you're going to do and how you're going to tackle it, and bear in mind that accidents can happen. Just try and make sure that you do the right thing so those accidents don't happen to you. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.